So whereas we've been living here now 8 years, been pastoring the church 7 years. And I say that to you so that even though we've been pastoring for 7 years, we've actually been pastors and been in ministry since, officially pastors since 1992. So we've been pastoring for 20 years. We've been senior pastors for 7 of the 20 years, the past 7 years here in Harrisburg. Very important that you should know that, because when a church is new in an area, many times people think that the pastors are new to the ministry. This church is new, but we're not new to ministry. Not at all. We've been in ministry 20 years as pastors, and even years before that, before we started our church in St. Louis, we were in ministry. The church started in 87. We started in ministry in 78. So we've already been in ministry 9 years before we started the church. We were there for 17 years. And then you add another 7 years here. So me and my wife have actually been in ministry for 34 years. Yeah. We say that to you so that you are confident, so that you can be confident in what you're coming to and what you are joining and connecting with. As you know, that this summer, we've been doing the Life Tree conversation. And we've been doing this for 2 reasons. Number one is helping us to get to know each other. So you ever want to know why in the world are we having these Life Tree conversations? Number one reason, since we are a relational church, the number one thing, see the connection? Well, why are we doing all these conversations? What does it got to do with going to church? Well, the one thing we do well, the number one thing we do the best in Urban Life Church is relation. So Life Tree helped us to continue with what we do best, and that's being a relational church, because it demands conversation. And so number one has helped us to get to know each other. One of the things that we have observed in our 34 years of ministry is that most of the time emphasis gets put on facilities and buying equipment and getting stuff. Then when ministry reaches a certain level, which takes anywhere from 5 to 10 years to reach that level where it's really starting to grow and be successful, then you discover we don't really know each other. Then it all falls apart. And if you have seen that happen over and over again here in Harrisburg with business, with churches, with organizations, that's why. That's why you've even gone to restaurants that were making a lot of money and it was successful. And you say, well, why did they close? Because people get to going and they really don't know each other. Because the thing that's going to sustain it over the long haul is relationship. Because ministries and churches, businesses, organizations, you got to have relationship to take you through the tough times. If you don't really know each other, when the tough times hit, everybody's out of there. Everybody's out of there because you don't know these people. You don't know if they're really going to have your back. You don't know. So that's what carries you through the tough times. The ministries that you've seen around here that are now 30 years old, 40, 50 years old, guarantee you, the successful ones. I don't mean the ones that are just hanging on, got five people left in a building that seats 1,000 people, and they just hanging on because this is what we're supposed to do. No, I'm talking about the ones who are actually thriving and successful and moving on. And after 30 years, they're still thriving and successful and moving on. Guaranteed, number one reason. Relationship. There have been some commitments that have been made at relationship levels, not just commitment as volunteers. I submit that to those of us who have been burned out in ministry. A lot of times we are committed to the ministry, but not necessarily to other people. Or you made that commitment to other people and they turned out to not really be committed. And you didn't know that. That's part of the thing that hurts the most, because you found out, I didn't know these people the way I thought they did, or they don't even know me. How many of you have been through that, where you found, where it's like, they don't really know me. I've been here serving and working, and they really don't know me. That's why I said relationship is the number one reason why stuff falls apart. It's not lack of money. The finances can go down in the church, and we experienced that in our 17 years in our home church. Economy went bad after 9/11 and all of that, and people couldn't give and all that. We had to cut back people's hours, all that stuff. Those people stayed on and kept working full time, even though we could only pay them part time. Why did they do that? Relationship. You don't do that just, quote, out of the goodness of your heart. You do that because they knew us. We knew them. We had become like family, even though we was a staff. Even though we was a church staff, they knew us. We knew them. That's what keeps you going. Yeah. So the Sunday gatherings, as you know, the number two reason why we've been doing the Life Tree is that it's changing. It's doing something to change our motives for even attending church. It changes us from being a church, being motivated to come to church just to receive, but now you start thinking in terms of coming to church in order to give.